how would somebody get, like, what would it take to get like $100,000 credit card on the business? You can't just like kind of walk off the street as a startup or something and get that, right?
No. So getting big limits on business credit cards, at this point for me, it's a very straightforward process, but there's many small things you need to do in a very sequential order. And again, the most
Mm,
important thing is the personal credit report. So we're talking
mhm.
about the amount of accounts you have, the balance on each personal account, your collective personal credit limits, the amount of hard inquiries you have in the last 6 months on each of the three bureaus, the average age of your account. There's so many different
Mm.
dials we need to dial in before you're even eligible for the business credit accounts.
Okay. And so most people know about FICO scores and stuff like that, but I don't even know how many business credit scores these days. You got your Dun& Bradstreet scores, your Paydex scores, PayNet scores. Does that stuff matter when you're submitting for the business credit cards and
So
lines of credit?
it's a super good question. So the business credit scores and the business credit bureaus, they do have an effect, and it ultimately helps if you've also built scores on these different business credit bureaus, but
Uh-huh.
it's not required. So the two
Okay.
business credit bureaus that does significantly help is Dun& Bradstreet and Experience Small Business.
Okay.
However, I still help people get really, really good limits by just optimizing their personal credit profile.
Okay. So the personal credit is the real driver of the situation. And then kind of like the supplement thing is the business credit history.
Exactly. So they're really looking at five main things: the personal credit profile, the age of the business, the industry of the business, any previous relationship at that bank, and then the business credit scores would be the fifth thing they're looking at. And so
Wow.
when it comes to being a business that has a lot of revenue, if you have a bank account at Chase, for example, that can see all that revenue, that's great for Chase. Really good thing for Chase, but other
Right?
banks are not going
They
to
have no
see that
idea.
revenue. And on these business applications, it's projected revenue. And so, what I would recommend to people that have businesses with cash flow is to bank at a bank like Chase or Bank of America, because they're the most heavy in relationships and they're going to give really, really big limits
Okay. So
based on
if
that relationship.
so if you want to get a high limit credit card, open an up account at Chase or Bank of America first, get some activity going, they kind of know who you are, then you can submit.
Yeah. If you're banking at a bank business wise, if you're business banking with any bank aside from Chase and Bank of America, you have an opportunity cost, because if you do bank at Chase or Bank of America, they're going to reward you more for it because they're very relationship based and they can lend the
Oh.
highest. They're the most lenient on lending. Bank of America is more strict, but if you have that relationship there, then they can lend very, very well. Chase is kind of lenient regardless, but you do need to have some sort of relationship with Chase in order to get like a 50, 75, 100K approval with them.
Wow, this is like a huge value bombs. That is really good.